Avengers Doomsday here because there has been something very, very interesting that I've been peeping that I want to talk about. So apparently Pedro Pascal is done filming, okay, and that was from directed from Deadline, no rumors. And Avengers Secret Wars is obviously about Doom, about Doctor Doom and Reed, okay. But I want to call out two things, okay. So I was talking to a former colleague of mine. And the one thing that I was talking to him about, I was like, yo, like from the video you did, it's making me feel like this movie isn't about Reed versus Doctor Doom, but it's about Doctor Doom and Tony Stark. And then it clicked in my head, you know, you don't allegedly pay someone 100 million to be just an antagonist, okay? So I believe that Avengers Doomsday is going to be a square off between Doctor Doom and Tony Stark. How they're going to build it out, I have no idea. But they're going to find a way. I'm telling you. And so here's what I think, okay? And a lot of people think that, is Pedro Pascal fired as Reed? That dude is not fired as Reed, bro. They are, and I'm pretty sure there was news that Iger talked about, or someone, I think it was Iger, talking about that they are going to do a Fantastic Four 2 and having the idea that Doomsday and Secret Wars is going to give them a bigger boost, which I think it will. Like, I think Fantastic Four 2 could go crazy depending on what happens with these next few years with the MCU. And so I think, as I said, that Tony Stark and Doctor Doom will square off, and we're going to get that battle. But then Secret Wars is going to find a way to make it about Reed and Doctor Doom. And I don't know how. I haven't thought of a theory, but I believe that they will find a creative way to shift the story to go from Tony Stark and Doctor Doom to shifting to being Reed. Because what I think, this is at least what I think they are going to do. Because you have to do a few things, which is you have to sell Reed as the smartest person in the MCU. Now, let's talk about Fantastic Four. I think Fantastic Four did a great job of trying to sell Reed as the smartest guy. Because what did they do? What did they do in Fantastic Four First Steps that sold it as Reed Richards might possibly be the smartest person in the MCU? The dude tried the freaking, what you call it? The dude literally tried to build a teleporter, and he tried to teleport a freaking planet. That's some next level ish. Tony Stark has never made that. Okay? And Tony Stark was the smartest person that we had in the MCU, him and Shuri. Okay? Shuri's never done that. This dude tried to teleport a freaking planet. And honestly, being real, if Silver Surfer didn't destroy the teleporters, it would have worked. It would have freaking worked. Okay? So that's for one. Okay? But what I think they're going to do, this is my theory. I think they're going to give us Tony Stark in his glory. We're going to love it. He's going to be back as Iron Man. It's going to be a new suit. He's going to be ready to go. But I think Tony Stark in this movie is going to lead. Reed's going to take the back seat, and Tony Stark is going to lose miserably. And I think Doctor Doom is going to point to something saying, like, you're not Reed. You will never be him, or something like that. And Tony Stark will die in this movie. And I believe that and I think that is going to segue into the Reed and Doctor Doom face-off to where Reed's going to have to step in. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think Pedro is going to be the smart guy, coming up with a lot of stuff, doing a lot of things behind the scenes. But I think that Tony Stark is going to lead he's going to lead the Avengers in this movie, and we'll see a twist to there. Okay. And, there's lots of going on with Doomsday. If we're talking about, Chris Evans possibly being Luke Cage or something, right? Or not being Luke Cage, but like his code name was Luke Cage. But apparently Peggy and Steve Rogers' house was seen on the set of Doomsday or something. I don't really know. But as I said, I think Pedro is still going to have a sizable role in Doomsday. But I also think his filming ended early because of this. Pedro Pascal is in 20,000 movies a year. He still has Mando and Grogu. And I'm pretty sure he has other projects going on too. Okay. So that's what I think is going on in regards to, Doomsday. I think that, I think that Doomsday is going to be Doom versus Tony Stark, which I think is going to be very, very interesting. And I think that it's also going to give just the Avenger movie in general a really good setup for Reed versus Doctor Doom. So I'm actually not against that idea, because if you do Doctor Doom versus Tony Stark, is going to get the fans back on board. And using Tony Stark, you show him having the camaraderie with the Fantastic Four, with the X-Men, with all of these new characters, with Spider-Man again, and so then it builds it up to when we have Secret Wars, it's a Reed Richards versus Doctor Doom face off. I think that'll be fire.